Hello, 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 and welcome back to yet another episode of Electricpreneur Secrets, the Electricians podcast. For electricians, by electricians, Joe. I'm your host, Clay Newmeyer, a master electrician. This is my esteemed co-host, Joseph Lucani, joining me always. And we're just a couple of master electricians with business addictions who keep showing up. And we've got another electrician with us today to help share his story because he's helping us show up today to help you guys master your sales, simplify your pricing, and deliver premium level electrical service. The title of today's episode suits this so well, man. From $1 million undercover broke business to clarity and cash flow with Austin Matthews. Man, am I pumped for this story, Joe. How are you doing today, brother?
Man, I'm feeling amazing. And honestly, I've been looking forward to this interview for so long because Austin is not only like a model kind of person, like he's just a good dude to the core. And like you just got to talk to him for 5 minutes to like him. So I can't wait to have him here. And plus, everything he's going to be sharing, I know there's going to be something in there that's going to help the person listening to this. So it's just a win-win for everyone.
Yeah, we go back a ways, and for many of you listeners, like we've been chatting a while, right? We tend to have a bit of a following that's been around for a couple of years or more. And if you're one of those people, then this story's really partially about you too and for you, because Austin was one of those. And this is a story that many of us know too well. It's kind of the story of our biggest fears coming true, blocking us from our biggest dreams. And that's
Mhm.
kind of around this, the idea of our own mismanagement. We
Mhm.
weren't taught to run a business, were we, Joe?
No, no, literally, it was just like these are lineman pliers. Go hustle it out. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. And so that mismanagement of the business and cash flow comes back to bite us in a big way that's nearly unrecoverable. And that's kind of Austin's story. And
Mhm.
where Austin's at today is a very different place. Okay, so he wants to discuss all of that and help you guys if you're in that place of uncertainty, if you're in that place where you're missing clarity or missing cash, if you've got cash holes, that more cash holes than cash flow, then this is
Mhm.
something that could really move and help you guys today as Austin shares his journey, now feeling in complete control, able to see the truth in the next steps, able to grow the team confidently, and even buy their own 9,000 square foot facility. Austin's about to spill his secrets of how he came to realize the cracks in the foundation, take action, and ultimately start building the company of his dreams. You ready for this, Joe?
I'm so ready. Let's reel him in.
Let's bring
Come
Austin
on,
in.
Austin. Let's go.
Let's see if we can get him here. I'm gonna welcome him. There he is. Oh, there he goes. Austin, I cut you off. There you are, brother.
How's it
How
going,
you
guys?
doing, brother? How you doing
So
today?
happy to have you with us, man.
You're good.
Awesome, awesome. Man, can you start us off here now? We got a bit of history, but I always like to hear why electricians choose to become electricians in the first place. Where are your roots in this trade? Why'd you start this journey?
All right. So when I was in high school, um, my between my junior and senior year, I needed a job. I drove an old hoopty truck, and gas was like $4.10 a gallon. And my mom was
Mhm.
like, "You better find a job." So accidentally, I got a job as a helper, running around carrying material around commercial job sites, um, and it stuck with me.
Yeah, I
That's
was.
awesome.
Didn't you? Yeah, you mentioned something originally about it when like you were going by. Like, what was it like being that in that place, in that mind space where you were?
Um, so it was a little wild. I thought I was doing great, and then
Hmm.
about 3 weeks in, one of the guys was like, "So did they just send you out here and tell you just to like cause as little damage as possible?" I was like, "What do you mean?" But one of the guys early on was like, "You know what, Austin? If you want to make good money, you need to be an electrician." When I made $30,000 last year, and I was, me being 17, I was like, "This guy's rich," you
Never
know.
seen that kind of
Um,
money before,
I
right?
was like, uh, I've always kind of had an entrepreneurial background and spirit. I, I really just early on into the trade, I mean, before that summer was over, I was like, I'm going to run a business one day. I'm going to own an electrical company one day. Um, and I would like be picking up like nuts and bolts off the ground and putting them in my pocket. Like, all right, here in the next couple of weeks when I start my electrical business, I'm gonna need these nuts and bolts, man. But that's true story too.
Been
But
there.
that's kind of where it started, and man, I've been after it pretty well ever since. So
Can
Really?
we go deeper on that for a sec? Like,
Yeah.
I want to know because I feel the same way. I've got my own kind of, there was a few things that stood out to me that I just knew I wasn't really fitting under someone else's umbrella. I had to be on my own. I had to be doing my own thing. Like, what were your first signs? How did you know you wanted to be the owner of your own business?
Mhm.
So it really started to hit me after that, my senior year, because I made, I saved up a good bit of money over that summer. And so I had a little bit of money to make it through until like Christmas time. And then it was like, all right, funds are getting a little low. How am I going to survive the rest of my senior year and do my thing, driving to school and all that stuff? And so I had two options. I could either go to Wendy's and make like 7.25 an hour for like 2 or 3 hours after school or something like that, or I could find another way. And so I found out real quick that if you throw a push mower in the back of a truck and like start hitting up your teachers, one of them was going to let you cut the grass,
Mhm.
and so that 30-minute, 40-minute grass cut for $25 sure goes a little further than the 3 or 4 hours at Wendy's or wherever at the time.
Mhm.
And it was like, okay, I can make a lot more, a lot quicker with a little bit of effort. If I do a little bit of legwork, if I do, if I just ask, if I put myself in front of somebody, it might work out.
It's so wild that you say that because I remember when I was starting off and like 17, 18 years old, I was getting paid like $30 an hour trying to do my own thing. And
Mhm.
then realizing like, wow, I've never seen this kind of money before. And then you end up going back to those same clients later and being like, oh yeah, well, they don't even mind $300 an hour. So we were so undercharging ourselves. You were undercharging, we were undercharging. But the
Oh
fact
yeah,
was you built that level of experience. That entrepreneurial spirit never leaves. It only compounds and grows. So you planted the seed, you put your own coin into the machine, you turn the dial, and this is what it produced. A lot of interest over a long period of time.
Can
yeah.
I
And
just
like you
plug?
said,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Austin. I didn't mean to cut you off, brother.
I don't know. I was just agreeing with Joseph. I mean, and it's funny how a lot of the same customers that like I was 17, 18 years old cutting grass for these people. Now we're wiring their houses and we're doing, and
Mm-hmm.
what used to be a $30 1 hour grass cut is now, like you said, 3, 4, 5, thousands of dollars of work.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, and then they're still like, hey, do you still cut grass? It's like, no, not much anymore, actually. But yeah,
Yeah, it
uh,
was so
good
wild.
stuff. Yeah, building
I
good connections lasts for a long time.
There you go. I just wanted to plug this for all dads out there. Like, are there any other dads like me, like you guys, I'm sure, that wish to see that in their kids? That
Oh,
level of industriousness and like taking just responsibility and being resourceful in going out and just creating a solution for someone and getting paid for it. Whether it's
oh my
mowing the
God.
lawn or cleaning the dishes, I don't even care. Just like go out and help
Whatever,
somebody.
Yeah,
for sure, man.
my daughter is 4 and I'm already in a situation where I'm trying to teach her about like, I'm not going to give you money, but I'm going to teach you how to produce value for other people. And as a result, if you can learn how to create value now, it'll compound over time and you'll be able to learn that skill and implement it.
For sure.
100%. 100%. So tell us about Matthews Electrical then, and let's get to more of this current journey and what we're talking about today. How long have you been in business, man?
June 1st, 2020, right in the middle of COVID.
That
We
was the
dove
date.
in. Yeah, we dove in. I've been wanting to do it for a long time. And I was fortunate. I've only been with a few companies, one of them for a long time. The next company was, and I actually, my roots come from commercial and industrial background.
Hmm.
Uh, just doing commercial projects. I was project manager, stuff like that. And then that didn't work out. And I went to another company, and they were strictly residential. And so I went in there about a year
Hmm.
and a half before I started my business. I'd never wired a house. Like I knew nothing. And so in that year and a half, I really fell in love with residential work, um,
Hmm.
working with people, just a whole change. It was so different, breath of fresh air. And within about a year and a half, within a year, I was like, I'm kind of ready to make my move. And then the perfect opportunity arose. I was like, hey man, I appreciate it. I got to go. And we dove in with like $600 in the savings account and a pickup truck,
Hmm.
um, and went after it. And it was just me for a long time. And then I got a little helper. And then the truck had to go. I got a van.
Hmm.
Um, and that first year, while it was very tough, it taught me a lot of stuff. Like I had to get rid of. I loved my truck. I had to get rid of it. I couldn't have that anymore. I had a work van that was my personal vehicle now.
Hmm.
Until we could get to that next level and stuff, and found out we were having a baby.
Hmm.
a month and a half into about mid-June, we found out. And
That's
so,
amazingly good timing, right? It's like, hey, I'm going to start a business. By the way,
yeah,
you're going to be a dad.
yeah, man. So, it was a crazy year. 2020, 2021 were crazy years, man. But,
That's nerve-wracking. I don't think you're
yeah, man.
alone either,
Yeah.
right? There's a lot of people out there having kids and then the second baby, the business at the same time.
Mhm.
Were you nervous back then? Were you worried about falling short, Austin?
That's a tough one for me to answer. I'm not really sure. I mean, I remember thinking when I found out, this is going to sound funny, but I think y'all need to hear this. So my motivation up until I used to work a lot. I would work 7 days a week, no problem. Like I was ambitious coming up. I didn't make a ton of money on the hour, as my electrician job. So I was doing stuff on the weekends for 5, 6, 7 years, and so I got used to doing that 7 days a week. And me and my wife had a talk, and I told myself, the day my son's born, that's out the window. I can't do that anymore. So my goal was to make enough money before he was born to pay him off at the doctor's office. Um, so I know, Clay, that may not mean much to you, but we have to pay. So our doctor told us you have to pay X amount of money before we'll deliver the baby, more or less. It's kind of how it worked. And my goal was to make that amount of money, and that was all I focused on for months. And I succeeded. That was great. I remember the core memory I always tell people is I remember looking at my phone at 1 o'clock in the morning in someone's attic and thinking to myself, all right, you can go home or you can stay here for another hour. You can go home now and come back tomorrow, or you can stay here for another hour and you might get to go home at a normal time tomorrow. And like that kind of describes the lead up to
Mhm.
my son being born and stuff like that. Just working all the time. I didn't give myself an option to fail, I guess I should say.
That's something that particularly stands out, Austin. And that I feel like that really describes your character in a lot of ways. You can take a hit and keep going because there's something that's inside of you that makes you want to go further. Your why is very clear. And the fact that you're like, just think about it. Most of us don't want to be an addict to start with. Then you're an addict at 1 in the morning and you're convincing yourself to stay later so that you can be present for your son when you get home the next day. That's a big deal. Well, technically, it would have been that day. You would have gone to sleep at what,
Right.
3, getting up and go back again.
Right.
Like you weren't thinking, hey, I'm going to take the day off. You were saying I'm going to stay a little harder. And that I think is incredibly commendable. And that shows that you can build something really good.
Appreciate that.
Big commitment. So that first year, you once described to me as good old boy electric. What did you mean by that? Why do you call it good old boy electric?
Because as you can tell by my accent, we're from Georgia. We're good old boys, so to speak. And so that term came from the way I envision everyone else around us operating, which everyone's pretty similar. It's like, hey, we're X amount an hour. We'll send you a bill when we're done. Take it or leave it. If you don't leave, I saw a comment today that really, really stuck with me. Was if they don't leave a voicemail, that's their fault. And so if we're not worried about calling people, we're not worried about calling people back, them calling us. um, you just kind of do what everyone else is doing because it works for them. Just look at them, they're walking around with a nice new truck, and they've been in business 20 years, so it's got to be working for them, right? And
Biggest fallacy.
if yeah and so if we can just copy them, and if I can just kind of sneak around and figure out what their hourly rate is, I mean, that means I'll be rich like them, and be a good old boy with them, and yeah, that's where that terminology came from.
Where did you feel that kind of fell short for you?
Pretty quick. um I'm pretty vocal when I talk to people about this. I've got some really good employees, really, really good. I call them partners in my business, really. I mean, that have been with me. Most of my guys have been with me for a while. And so when I first hired my first all-star player, like my key player, um, he came from a service company that strictly did service work. And he kind of showed me this and that. And like, um, the first thing that stuck to me was the pay he was asking for to come on board was way more than I was making as the business owner. And I just kind of laughed about it. He's like, man, I'm telling you, and this is what I told him. I said, look, man, I got enough money to do that for 2 weeks. And if it doesn't work, I'm sorry. And he showed me real quick what a good service tech can do, and stuff. And that was what planted the seed of service company. He was like, man, he came from a big box company, towards Atlanta, and he was like, man, we had 30 vans doing this. And I was like, I don't even know what this is. And so, man, I'm sorry, I'm losing my train of thought.
No, that's good.
Um,
No, it's good.
yeah. So very quickly we started doing the service work kind of stuff, and I came to a point where I felt like we were just kind of throwing darts at the wall when we're pricing stuff. It's like, where are we even coming up with these numbers? Like, we're doing it, we're basing it off hourly. Like, we're not giving them an hourly rate, but we're bidding stuff. But it's like, sometimes we're 200, sometimes we're 250, sometimes we're 125 if I know the guy. Like, there's no rhyme or reason to it. And I've never tracked like how much we're really making. In my mind, okay, I paid my guys $200. We had 200 in material. The job was 1,000. Well, that means we made $600, right? Of course. I mean, the insurance and stuff, that just it comes out of my money. Like, all the money's my money. I'm just paying the insurance out of my money, and I'm paying for the trucks. When I'm paying the workers' comp and stuff, there was never like a method. There was never a breakdown of how the money actually worked, and the structure of how to manage it, or where how much you need to how much it actually costs to operate. Even like, when you get that call where it's like, hey, your workers' comp, I didn't know how workers' comp worked. And so my first year of having workers' comp, I get an audit at the end of the year over our payroll, and they're like, hey, you forgot to tell us you hired 3 guys. You owe us $4,800. And it's like, okay, I did $700,000 last year, and I've got like 2,200 in the bank. How do I pay that? Where's all the money at? Why are we doing these huge numbers and we have no money? This was the first time I was like, something's wrong. Something's wrong, and this isn't normal.
It's a scary place. It really, really is there.
And outside, and looking at other people, and even being open enough to talk to them about it, they're like, oh, no, man, you got to put cash in your pocket. That's the only way you'll make money doing this. You got to put the cash in your pocket. That's how you get paid. You don't want no money in the bank, because if something happens, well, they'll just take that money and they won't know about the cash in your. It's like, all right, okay, fair enough, man. Not understanding what was really going on.
You said something yesterday, actually, to speak to that cash that really stuck out for me when we were preparing for this interview. You said you realized a point at the 700K year, you feel like you did closer to $1 million, and likely that was the case, and a lot of cash transactions and stuff, but you felt like, you said, you felt like you were needing to lend your company money to get by. But
I didn't feel like
was unaccounted for.
Yeah, it wasn't a feeling like I had to. It was hey man, you owe 10,000 in payroll this week, and 15,000 in material needs to be paid by Friday, and there's $4,500 in the bank. What are you gonna do? And it's like, okay, man. So we got paid. We did a house. This is when it all came to a head. It was actually ironically right before I really got in with you guys. We did a house that was the biggest house we've done to date. And it was about a $30,000 job. And they said, hey, how do you want to get paid? Will you take cash? I'm like, of course, love cash. They're like, all right, can we get a little discount for cash? Of course, why not? That's what everybody does, right? It makes sense. Here's $1,500 off for paying me cash, and I'll put it in my pocket. That's Austin got paid really good I won't need another paycheck for months now. And so then I have this huge stack of cash, and I feel like a gangster, but it's like, what can I do with this money? I can't take it to the bank. I can't go buy a vehicle with it. Like, I was stuck with it. And then all of a sudden it was like all the bills from that month started piling in, and I got to pay these bills. And so we as a family, we go on vacation the first week of October every year. And so we took a long vacation last year because it worked out to where we could. And so we were gone for about a week and a half. And about the second day, first time I've ever been to Disney World, man, with my wife and my young son. Pretty big investment for that trip, but I wanted to enjoy it, and I thought I had it all planned out. And by the second day, I was realizing, hey, we're not getting paid for this. We had a really good week the week before, something like that, right? We had like $15,000-$20,000 in accounts receivable. And all of a sudden it started clicking to me, hey man, these people are not replying to my text. They're not going to pay me today. They're not going to drop a check off today like they said they were. And then it was like 3 jobs worth about 20 grand doing that to me all at once, right? Because we had no sales method, we had no sales process. I didn't A
Mm.
deposit sounded dirty to me, so we were floating everything. And then by Wednesday, it was like, okay, I'm 2 states away from home, and there's no money in the bank for me to transfer money because I kept it all just hidden under the bed, whatever. Um,
Mhm.
what do we do? How do we do this? So then my whole family vacation gets ruined. I'm stressed out. I mean, we had a great time, don't get me wrong, but I was stressed out the whole time. Like, what am I going to do? Like, when I come home, I'm going to have to take every penny I've got to my name and put it in the bank and pay off these bills from last week, and then pray to God we can go make some good sales and turn them quick this week. Or we're in real trouble. Or we're like telling people to sit at home because I cannot pay you next week. Like, I never want to be in a point where I can't pay my guys. They get paid first before anyone
Mhm.
else, right? And but if there's no money to pay them, then that's a real problem. And so I dug this hole, and I really didn't see a way out of it. I was honestly at the point where I was like, whatever we're doing right now is not working anymore. We've got these nice vans. They're gonna have to go. We're gonna have to buy. We're gonna find something we can pay cash for. Like, it was a deep hole. There wasn't an easy way out of it.
And now when we
Um,
were talking, it was just before that vacation when we really got serious
mhm,
about let's put a call on the calendar and let's see if we
right.
can help you with this, Austin.
Mhm,
And actually, I have our conversation, our original messaging, and this is interesting, and I'd love to hear your perspective on this
yeah.
because now you're fully transparently saying, like, look, we were in trouble here, right? Everyone can
Right.
sense that, I'm sure. But in our conversation just a week prior to that vacation, you had said, well, maybe we could use some help with lead generation, but our processes are pretty good and things are going well.
Mhm.
Reflecting
Hey,
on that now, would you say that that was kind of like, what is that? Is that like, is there an ego thing at that time? Was it defense walls, or maybe our trust wasn't built? Like, I know there's other people in this position, so I really wanted to call it to attention if that's okay.
Mhm.
so I'm so glad you asked that. And I think I have a really good answer for that. So I want to say that I think I did. I was being genuine when I said that, because in my idea of process is, Austin or Cameron goes to a job and sells it, and then this guy goes and does the job, and then Austin goes and gets the money, right? Or the perfect world is Cameron goes and sells the job, does the job, brings Austin a check, or enter whoever, any of my service takes at the time. That was the process. We would go and sell the job and do the job and get paid sometimes,
Mhm.
sometimes because there was
Sometimes.
no, hey, can you sign? Yeah, there was no signing anything before we started. There was no, this is due at time of completion. That there's no, hey, we'll book your job with 50% deposit today. Um, there was no anything to guarantee we were going to get paid, and there was also no structure. I mean, I can't be mad at a customer if I didn't tell them they owe me money the day we're done. I mean, why can I? Why should I assume that? If I'm not laying out, if we're not sticking to any kind of sales process or anything. Um, so I think I thought we had a good process. Um, post on Facebook every once in a while and hope for the best. That was our lead generation. I didn't know what a Google local service ad was. I didn't know that was a thing. I just knew that people pay Google sometimes, and I didn't know how to do that.
Well, I want to thank you for your vulnerability. Obviously, you're
Yeah.
sharing, the reality. That's what it was. And we went
Mhm.
into this wanting to help people. And I know there's other people in this situation. So again, thanks for sharing that. Um, that said, then what was it that pushed you over the edge to finally accept some help and realize, God, there's more to this that we just need?
Right. This is going to sound exaggerated, but it's really not. I felt like I was at a point where I had no choice. It was a fork in the road of, you can trust someone, and you can hope this works. You can throw some faith in somebody and see how it goes for a month or two, and hope to God it works and pray for it. Or the other option was to keep doing what we're doing and start laying off people. Go to the bank and get a line of credit. I've never had one of those before for my business. Uh, Start figuring out how to go deeper into debt, but then just, I mean, honestly, the other option is to go out of business one day, and go out of business with a huge personal debt because of it. That's honestly, looking back and also in the moment, I think that's the feeling I had was, I don't know these guys. I've been friends with Clay on Facebook for 2 years. We had messaged back and forth for years. but I really didn't know much about the program. I'd heard of coaching programs. I'd heard of this and that, but I knew nothing about it, man. And so it was a do or die moment for me. It was, me and my wife talked about it a lot. I was like, look, we're going to put this $2,000 or we're going to have to put this investment on a credit card, um, and hope that it works out. And after a 1 month or 2 months or something like that, we're going to be so far behind it won't matter at that point. And thank God we did, and thank God it did work out.
Love the smile at the end there.
Amen to that,
And I
brother.
appreciate, again, the vulnerability to even be able to say that means a lot, Austin. So it really does sound like you were at your last, I mean, it was credit. You were stretching credit to even make this work at all. And I actually remember in the first calls that you attended, I think you and Cameron were on some of the first classes, and I recall you may have still been in that house because you were having issues with, there was some debate over whether or not, wiring of appliances was included, or install of appliances, if I recall correctly. There were some problems we were trying to solve with you late in a project, if I recall that right. So it seemed there was even kind of just a lack of clarity on the scope of work itself.
Yeah. And that was what options really, really changed the game for us too. And I think that job right there, I'm glad you brought that up. Thankfully I've forgotten about that, but so we
Nothing
did
escapes the igloo, brother.
I almost wore a branded igloo shirt just for you today.
That'd have been awesome.
I couldn't find one in time, but so that particular job did a huge kitchen renovation, and we did not present options. That was I don't know if we priced that right before we joined up, or if that was like we priced it the first couple of weeks and we still were just learning, didn't really, we were just trying to understand at that point. And that was actually the job that the switch flipped for me. And I was like, all right, this is why we have to have options. Not only does it empower us to give the customer better options so they can control the job better, but also it gives us, it's almost like an insurance agreement for us, like, hey man, this is where you were at, and it's right here. We could have done all this for you right here, and I'm, I mean, it's
less contract, more on the options.
Yeah.
And the best part about that, on top of it, is that you realize there's every time you go back to this customer too, like, you've ever been there, like, what do I quote? It's just a tripped outlet. It's like, well, but what did you quote last time you were there? It's still relevant. The electronics protection, the upgrade to the systems, the end rate, like, all those things are there. So it not only helps you with keeping your contract safe, but it also keeps you with future serviceability.
Right. We have a huge amount of repeat customers as well. I mean, I think we had 32 repeat visits that we closed jobs on last month. Wow. So yeah, it was actually more than any other lead source, which is a blessing, huge blessing. And so that, and obviously some of those are from before and stuff like that, but having that roadmap in front of us of, like, when they call, hey, so-and-so was out here, they were talking about this and that. We weren't ready at the time, but we're really ready to talk about that now. Awesome. And we've got it right there, like, it empowers everyone from the customer service rep, office manager, to sales tech, to install tech. I mean, it's a win-win for everybody. The customer, it helps the customer.
I love that we're getting into today now, and I gotta ask, Austin, would you still call it good old boy electric? What's the feeling you have about your business now?
You know what? I'm gonna go on a limb and say I would, because we still, not the operating side of it. We don't operate like that anymore whatsoever. But we really still keep that hometown, close to heart customer service. There's a couple pillars you can stand on. And customer service is the one I stomp on every day, just as tall as I can. We have a close relationship with our customers, and I think that does kind of throw us in that good old boy category. But it's a lot better now. It's a lot different now. We're definitely tailored as a service company. In fact, if someone calls today and says, hey, are you interested in doing a commercial project, we're probably going to refer them out from that moment on, to say, hey, thank you for calling. We've got other partners in the industry that are much more suited to do that job than us.
Wow.
We don't like
to carry people though.
Good.
That's a huge win, because previously, let's talk to Austin 2 years ago and just be in a situation, you're fresh into business, getting ready to rock and roll, and someone goes, hey, I'd love to give you a nice commercial contract. It's net 90, but it's big money. No contract, 1 year ago, no agreement. Let's handshake on this one, right?
you don't have to go that far back. It was 1 year ago, and I can tell you, we were wiring a chiropractor's office 1 year ago, and it was it was my worst foray into commercial we've had yet. So, yeah, I had that in mind before I met you guys. I don't think I wanted to do commercial anymore, but I'm really glad y'all pushed us that way.
Awesome.
So
well, I'm proud of you for taking it.
Yeah.
What has changed then? What's making you feel so confident on your service now, outside of just standing on that pillar of customer service? I mean, that's
Right.
great. And I love hearing, by the way, that you can maintain a culture while having a really big thinking process, something that'll suit you for a while. But, what's changed then? How has your confidence changed?
Um,
Put you on the spot. Big question.
No,
You got
there's
this.
a lot of answers, man. There's so many answers. So much has changed. Like I would say the sales process is a good foundation for that. Collecting deposits, offering options. One thing that I've been working on really, really tough the past month or two was Bam Fam, book a meeting from a meeting. We had some tough scheduling issues where people would fall through the cracks, and that's how you stop that. So I would say that's part of our sales process too, is book a meeting from a meeting. That's the deposits have definitely changed our world for cash flow. Um, the service call process, demand call process, that's drastically changed our world as well.
If we can give you a shout out, because just before this, not to interrupt your flow, but we were just talking about one of your guys, Hayden, who's been exceptional in these demand calls with this process. Just had, I think, was an $8,500 silver ticket from one of those demand calls, right? Little demand call lotto.
Yeah, that was last week. He's probably had 8,000 or so this week. Just he's had one $4,400 platinum and a couple other basics and silvers this week. And it's a holiday week, so it's kind of slow.
Feels good closing on those platinums, right?
Right. Yeah, man. So our sales process has been awesome. Our office, you guys are strong on hiring. Recommend hiring someone for the office first thing. If there's one thing that I would go back and change from day one of my company, I would hire someone the first week. When I couldn't afford to, I would rather give them my money than me make that money for the first week or two. That's how powerful. If anyone listening right now, make that hire, man. You cannot afford not to. You don't realize it now, but I'm telling you, it is a life changer.
Amen to that. I agree with you full-heartedly.
Yep.
Yeah, that's huge. How has this changed your personal take with the business? Do you mind going on the personal side of this a bit?
I'd love to.
Because before you mentioned I'm not going to pay myself for a couple of months. I pay a little bit here. It wasn't consistent, right?
Right.
Where are you at now with yourself and taking care of your family on the personal side of this?
I became a W-2 employee this year. I've been collecting a salary. Thank you. Yeah, we do all this work. We do all this work just to strive to be a W-2 employee again. So I'm an employee again, which comes with a salary. It's been that way all this year, which has been nuts, man. To go from, it changes my mentality for everything, man. Like, I don't have to worry as much, and also with our sales process and the KPI trackers you've given us, and sales plans and stuff. I can see where we're going to go. I can set plans, and I can know I can see how for the next 6 months, I don't have to worry about my salary because I see where we're going. You're giving me a roadmap to grow with. And as long as we do our job, day in, weekend, whatever, it's there, man. So I feel more comfortable. I feel more, I'm losing the word right now, but comfortable is a good way to put it. I feel more relaxed. Empowered for my personal finances. I feel more comfortable than I've ever felt. And I'm not having to steal from myself to do it anymore, which is amazing.
It's amazing to think about. And to just put in this perspective, there are some of us who have quote unquote big money from big checks. And we look at those as these big, wonderful things. But what we don't see in the background is that big check, they have to stretch that for the next 6 months.
Man.
And that previously was what you were doing. You'd get a big commercial job, you'd close it, you'd clear out your debts, you'd sit on that money because you don't know when you got to get paid. Now the difference is, now I know you've paid more, but even if you paid yourself less, at least you'd know where you're at. And you could say, yeah, I'm taking this amount and I know where this is going to go. I
Mhm.
can't even imagine the like mental relief and the sigh of relief that would have come from just knowing that you're not always looking at the bank account and wondering what's going to hit and when.
You know, what even bigger than that for this, I would say it started this year is after, I had 2 or 3 months last year of towards the end of the year of getting some information from y'all. I started our coaching program. And I felt like really honestly, the first of the year this year is when I felt like, okay, I'm ready. Like we've got this. And I don't honestly since then, like my biggest problem before was not even worried about paying me. I was always worried about paying my guys. Um, which is, if y'all are listening, I'm sorry if y'all knew that. I hope y'all didn't know that, but it kept me up a lot, man. And I haven't had to worry about that at all. I know where with our sales, the way our sales process works, I know where the money's coming from. I get a notification on my email every sale we make, whenever we collect that deposit. And so it's just a constant reminder of, hey, man, we got this. We're good.
Isn't that a nice feeling? Seeing the email reminder of a deposit come in that you yourself did not have to go and push for.
Right.
Congratulations on that.
Really
And
proud of you.
congratulations on the big new shop location too.
Thank you. I'm excited, man. We're just now, it's, man, this is the end of this year and next year are gonna be insane. Like I see it, I feel it, I know it. Like the ability to have pallets of material stacked up for jobs next week, ready to roll. So the guys they come in and a lot of times I load it. I enjoy that. That's my favorite thing to do right now is when the guys come in from the day, uh, loading their material up for the next day, making sure it's all there. I just something about it's just relaxing. It's calming.
You know,
Knowing that it's handled.
I agree with you 100%. And I can relate with that feeling. It's the feeling of knowing that there's other people pulling on this rope other than just you, right? Like imagine you're stuck on the side of the road and you got someone attaching to the tow, but the only person that's trying to tow you out is yourself. It's not going to
Right.
work. But knowing that you've got other people who are able to be like, you know what? I can get a sale. I can get a sale. I can get a sale. But also, I'm willing to step up and take accountability for this. I'm willing to step up and show up and do this. It doesn't feel like you're alone anymore. And that's such a pure and just strong feeling. And I'm so proud that you're able to get to that point. Like, truly, I am so proud of you, Austin.
I appreciate it. And I wish I could say it was all me, but you guys and your team have been a huge, huge help. Like in so many ways. I never realized just how much help we needed and just how much help a couple guys talking about electrical work, running an electrical business would impact just not just my electrical business, my life, my health, my mindset, my mental clarity. Um, you know, uh, it's awesome, and also having the community around it as well with everyone in the group chats we're in and stuff like that. Man, um, it's nuts.
Well, we're honored for the compliment. Thank you. We wanted you guys to have something that we didn't have, and we're going to keep working and pushing to make it better and better and better every single day. But I want to say thank you and everyone else that's a part of that program because it would not be the same without you. It really wouldn't.
Yep. We couldn't do it without the team, and you're a big part of that culture. So we do appreciate that. There's a
Of
question
course.
I have for you that we don't often ask, actually, and it's something I would like to ask. If there's something in the day or the week that we're involved with that you look forward to at that silver level programming that you're in, of course, we've got the 8 classes a week, we've got the community support chats, we've got, the Facebook groups, you've got your accountability coach, you've got us you can see in class. Like, is there one particular thing that this is your favorite thing and it really helps drive you in your success? Outside of igloo jokes, showing up to my classes just to make fun of the Canadians?
Oh man, neither one of you are gonna love this answer.
That's
Um,
okay.
the best thing to come out of SLE for me has been my monthly accountability coach partnership with Raina.
Okay.
Um,
Why?
you know why? She pushes me. She really pushes me, and she hounds me, and she gets on me. Not only she check in once a month, with a phone call. Um, she checks in multiple times during the week. Hey, how did it go? You said you were going to call this guy. What happened? What did he say? How does that make you feel? you know,
Mhm.
um, really pushes me, and that's what I need. That's where I thrive at. And then I love catching lately it's been easier for me to catch the options in the afternoon with Joseph. Um, I always make it a priority. I try to make it a priority on Mondays and Fridays to be in the classes with Clay as well. Um, I try to get a little bit of everybody every week. It can be tough for me to make every single class, but I'm getting my guys on a regimen to where we're going to make time every day. Whether that's time, hey, from 9 to 10, go sit in the van with iPad. Don't just plan to whatever you're doing. Make sure you're done by then. If not, I'll come do it. I'll come cover for you. Um,
That's big. That's really big right there.
we got to
Too
do it,
often,
man.
yeah,
We
too
got
often people they cut on the training for the sake of the productivity, not realizing that the training is the thing that'll increase the productivity.
100%. Yeah, I'm at a mindset now where we can't afford not to. We're doing great. You know what I mean? But the more we know, the more we practice this, the better we're going to get. And I don't ever want to. I don't want me or anyone to get so comfortable with our processes that we're just grinding out basic options. I want to be creative. I want to think outside the box, and that's what really sets us apart. I get asked all the time. Who's your big competitor? We don't have one. There might be 20 electrical companies in our small town, but we don't have competitors. We're the only ones doing this, and it shows. I really do feel that way.
That's awesome. And as a testament to your leadership, actually, I saw Cameron in the chat yesterday and he was asking about generators and options design. And he was doing, I think he's working on maybe a estimate
A
that
big
he's never
one.
done. It's a
It's
big
going to be
one.
as a 400 amp. I can't
Yeah,
wait to sink
400
my
amp.
teeth into that, man.
And
Yeah,
so,
man.
yeah, I just asked, well, what's your question, Cam? We want to help you. And when he said the spiel was the 400 amp, this is perfect for options design clinics. So I had said to him in the chat, like, hey, do you think the big man will let you have an hour, 40 minutes to come in and work with Joe on this? 5 minutes later, I saw your reply, we'll be there. That's great leadership. That's exactly what we're talking about. Sacrifice this hour today to grow your team, to invest in this kind of experience with, as I keep calling him, the wizard of options over here.
I like that.
That's a
I
really good
appreciate that.
use of an hour. Awesome. We're going to run out of time, brother. I want to thank you for this, but I've got just like two more questions, if that's all right.
Hit me with them.
We've said a few things here, but in the interest of helping others, what are your big three secrets? What are the big three things? If you had to wash everything else the way that we've talked about or done or worked on, what are three things, if that's all you could take, you would take with you and do this again?
Um, the sales process in general. So the deposits. Number one, you've got to get on deposits. Cash flow is king. I'm not a financial guru by any means, but cash flow is king. Point blank. Period. Got to keep that coming. Deposits make that happen, and they also keep people from canceling jobs. Number two, options. That's a given. I mean, it's if you're not offering options at this point, um, you're shooting yourself in the foot, man. Like I said earlier, it's not just about trying to put more numbers in front of the customer. It's also a really good insurance policy for you, and it's also a great roadmap for future work. And if you feel like you're going to be a salesman, let me tell you, the customers love it. They want to see options. They really do. And they don't get to see enough of them. So be the different one that does it. Number three, this is going to be a different answer too, but really pouring some effort in that office staff, man. A good office is key. I mean,
100%.
It may look like a cost of like an overhead cost. It's just money coming out of your pocket. But let me tell you, that money that they're bringing into you is unmeasurable. The time they're buying you, the everything, man. Put some real effort into that office staff. Spend some time with them. Yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate that. Last question, man. This time we're narrowing it down to just one message. If your best friend or someone in the next door town or next state over is looking for advice on starting their electrical business or improving their electrical situation, maybe from good old boy electric, the old one, to something a little better, a little more sustainable so they can take care of their family, what advice would you give them?
Price calculator. Get that price calculator. I had a talk with an electrician this morning that started his company not too far from here. Um, and we got to talk about coming up with burden rates. And he started talking about burden rates, and overhead rates, and percentages, and this and that. And I was like, first thing I said was, "How many hours are you planning on working this year? How many billable hours does that include?" And get that price calculator. If your pricing isn't right, then you can't afford an office staff, and you can't afford. And when I say office staff, you can't afford a CSR. If you're not billing for it accordingly. And so I think that's a really good foundation to build off of is know your numbers, know what you need to be charging. Even if you're not charging it yet, even if you're not sure, know what you need to be charging. That way, at least if you're robbing yourself, you know it.
Bingo.
Love that, man.
Great
share.
on that.
And to our listeners, is there anything else you wanted to say today, Austin?
Keep doing it. Do the hard things. Just keep doing the hard things, and keep killing it out there.
That's what you keep doing, man. We have nothing but faith for your future. We see it as bright-eyed as you do by the sounds of it today. So looking forward to everything that comes you and to you and your company. Forgive my stutter there. So Austin, I want to thank you, bottom of our hearts. Joe,
Agreed.
I'm sure, has his own words for it, but man, just thank you. Thank you for joining. Thank you for helping so many who are going to listen to this and be able to reflect and see the parallels in their business.
Thank y'all for having me. Thank you very
I just
much.
want to add one more thing to that, and that is, Austin, I hope you know at the end of the day that you truly are an amazing person. And then the story that you bring is something that not a lot of people fully see and understand. But once they hear the full story, it's going to be like, oh, yeah, that's me. I've been there. So many of us have not priced right. So many of us have not known what we were doing. And some have ended up in very bad situations. And at least what you're doing is you're putting a hand out and saying, here's another way. And I'm really proud of you for being willing to be vulnerable enough to help people in that way. That's what a real good person does. And you have my complete and total respect for that.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, man. And with that, I'm going to take us off here. So guys, I know that you got some value from Austin's story today, and we're going to be back in a couple of weeks with another one. Of course, next week, again, we got another episode. We're going to continue to help you master your sales, simplify your pricing, and deliver premium level electrical service. And if you haven't seen this 50K offer where we literally guarantee you 50K months, you might want to check that out on our Facebook group, Electricpreneur Secrets, or on our website, servicebyelectricians.com. Bye for now, you guys.
Look forward to seeing you soon.